Right, we all know how opposite poles of magnets attract each other. The problem is to keep the attraction going. I've solved this problem by putting the magnets on this armature in a spiral, and the field also in a spiral. And when the spiral is put on this shaft, and the shaft is in a circle, the armature going through an endless field will turn endlessly, creating a permanent magnet motor. Is it perpetual? Well, some say perpetual motion is an impossibility. However, it is all around us, the motion of the planets and the moons and the stars above us, to the submicro world of the atomic particles within us. This motor is a free energy. To those who argue that energy and matter cannot be created or destroyed, I would ask, where did the first atom come from? This motor, when better engineered and built, will outlast several generations, and for those who die before it needs rebuilding, it will be perpetual to them. This is Bob's theory of relativity. If an engine is running on no energy before you're born and continues after your death, it is perpetual relative to you. First, we'll take a quick tour to show that the model you're viewing is level. And if my recorder stops, it's because for some reason today it's decided when I move it too fast it blacks out. If that happens, well, that's the reason anyway. We'll take a tour all over here to show you that there is no wires or anything coming to it, and no inputting power. Get this out of the way if somebody thinks that's doing something to it. Those are my notes, because without them I would have nothing to say. Alright, we'll go down below for a fly under, and you can see that there is nothing here. Sorry it's dark, but I'll try to back away here so you can see better. Or no wires or anything coming in. Okay, back up again. Oh, here also, I'll try to show you here on the shaft that the shaft is also level. There you go. And coils of wire could be placed in here and here in between the field magnets, so that when the armature goes inside the coil, it would make a generator of the motor itself, while the motor is turning another generator or something else. I haven't done this because I don't want somebody, a cynic like myself, thinking that the wiring is inputting power. This is not a complete turning motor. It is only a portion, but it proves that it is self-sustaining, and as it turns six full revolutions. But if it turns 6 times, it will turn 60 or 600 or 6,000 or 6 million, etc. After all, the Wright brothers' first flight was only 120 feet, and that seems to have developed nicely. Well, let's give it a run here so you can see it work before I bore you with my long 8-minute speech. Alright, I'll turn it into here, bring it up to where it hits the first field magnet. Nudge, nudge, nudge. And there you go. Okay, how about an overview? Rewind it here. And there you go, 6 full turns. We'll show it again later. Or you can press rewind. Anyway, the spiral armature shaft, let's see, the spiral armature shaft in a finished engine, that's this thing here, would, of an engine this size with an armature that size, would be about 2 feet or larger in diameter, with these field magnets going all the way around in a circle to allow the armature to turn in an endless circle. The armature would have connecting rods on the beginning. Well, let's see, run it up here past the field, like connecting rod here, and in the back running to the central shaft out here, and which would drive the central shaft. The mini armatures could be used to turn along this spiral central shaft, or the spiral shaft here, evenly separated. The number depends on the diameter of the motor itself, and not putting so many on it that would cause magnetic interference between them. The connecting rods might also have gearing on each end, here and down at the central shaft part, which would help transfer extra rotating force from the alternator to the central shaft. This armature shaft here could be 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 multi-sided. I think 4 would probably be best, with roller or ball bearings mounted in a spring mechanism to reduce the friction and vibration. I'm using this 2-sided shaft because that's all I could find. This is a concrete drill shaft that I modified. The armature shaft is supported by this block here. In an actual finished motor, it would be supported by shafts, round or square, rectangular or oval, supports which would pass through the armature, and a spiral slot cut into the armature body where the magnets are attached to the opposite. This is represented by this black line. My machining capabilities cannot cut that groove in with the materials I'm using and make it solid enough that it would actually be a spiral shaft, so that's why I represent it just by a black line, because I've tried and I just don't have the machinist capacity to do that. Okay, the shaft of this model uses a 1 revolution per about a 1 1/4 inch travel. More or less travel per revolution might increase the efficiency and the power. Multiple rows of fields and armatures could be staged in rows around a central main shaft, much like the rows of a cylinder are placed on the reciprocating aircraft, on a large reciprocating aircraft engines, to increase the power output. Some of the field magnets might even be able to drive the next row of armature magnets if properly arranged. I am using ball magnets on the armature of this model, as they allowed me to place them more accurately by putting them on these screws. And rectangular magnets, oval magnets, square magnets might work even better. I don't know. The gap between them, something else that needs to be experimented with. Either larger, or maybe eliminating the gap entirely might increase efficiency and the energy power. And several rows, you could put another row here, and on a larger armature, several rows of magnets and several rows of armatures to increase the power and efficiency of the motor, and in a limited size. The angle of the field magnets here, that's these guys, and the armature, and the angle of the ball magnets, these guys, or the armature magnets, are completely like at polar opposites, on a vertical. Perhaps changing the angle to provide so that the fields may be setting this way and the armature is setting that way would help pull the armature through the field faster and more efficiently and increase the power. So a better model would be one that had the armature and field magnets adjustable to find the best angle for efficiency and power. As you can see on this earlier model, right here, because the axle thing got worn out. And where did my little ball magnet go? Huh. Okay, crud. Well, anyway, where these balls are attached to the screws go in almost to the shaft, where the shaft goes through here. And since the ball magnet magnetizes the screw, that's also magnetized down to where it's closely associated with the shaft down there, and that I'm thinking acts as kind of a braking model, making it less efficient. I'll try to make a larger armature using a larger plastic body to eliminate, and just gluing the ball magnets directly onto the body, and have a large body. That would eliminate this braking effect, hopefully, and make it work better. The open gap in this model, it's right here, is where the connecting rod from the armature to the central shaft, which would be up here somewhere, depending on the diameter, and the central, where the central main shaft. On a finished engine, this gap should probably be over here, sideways, the central axis being out here somewhere, and opposite each other, and that would increase probably the direct driving motion. Efficiency on this could further be increased by running the motor in an evacuated room to remove the air resistance. Now, I'm not a model maker, This is my fourth model of this motor, and although it's better than earlier ones, it would require someone with a lot more patience and competence as an engineer and a machinist. I've seen many models on YouTube and elsewhere of permanent magnet motors. I don't know if they are real or not, but I do know that this one, crude though it is, does work. And when a motor, as I've described in this video, is competently made, it will do the job. Can it be made better, simpler, more efficient? Well, hell yes, but this is a start. So my task here is to demonstrate and motivate the experimentation needed for its perfection. I'm not selling anything and do not want a penny for any of this. I freely give this to the world, and everything in this video is now placed in the public domain and is not patentable by anyone. The original idea has been done already billions of years ago and discovered by Wilkins, Franklin, Watkin, and Crick in 1953. Speaking, of course, DNA, and I'm just semi-serious, but the double helix part is true. I further request that whoever does create a full and complete and competent perfected model of this also give it to the world, because I feel that free energy, well, and freedom itself, should be free. This won't destroy the existing power companies. It will take years to perfect and implement, and will not eliminate our need for oil, for lubrication, plastics, and fertilizers, etc., and for jet engines for aircraft, as it will be faster and more efficient on oil, at least for a time. But it will take their hobnail boot off of our throats and hopefully rebalance world power. As George C. Scott told Marlon Brando in the movie The Formula, "You're not in the oil business, you're in the oil shortage business." And as Samuel Johnson once said, nothing will ever be attempted if all possible objections must first be overcome. So thank you for watching this, and please send it out to anyone you think would be interested in it. Make a hard copy for posterity. And one more thing. Whoops, get up here. You're welcome.